Yes, we are live. Oh, we are live. It's been a long, long day, and I'm finally sitting here with my good friend Chris on the live stream. And
all right, let's see if I can connect them. Hold on a second. How do I do
by the way, we're
this?
just going to let you know that we're already live. We're already live. Just to let you know in case you say anything appropriate, because we're going to say everything.
Please don't say fuck or bugger.
So, what about now? How is it?
All right.
Technical challenges.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Nope, they don't work because I'm doing it through the browser. I can't hear anything.
Oh man. Okay. Maybe are you using your phone or a
Yeah.
laptop? Okay.
Yeah, I'm using my phone. Should I try the laptop?
Try with the laptop, yeah, just without the.
Give me a second.
Or maybe it's okay. We're here at the moment, chilling anyway.
Yeah, you're very loud to us, Ven.
Yeah,
we can hear you very loud.
So can someone else let us know? Can anyone hear us? Like how? Oh man.
Can anybody hear Sam and myself? That's the next thing.
And can anybody hear it also? Oh, we can put the banner up. So basically, I'm really bad at these live streams. So how do I put a banner up?
I thought you knew
how you did it. I can remember it last time. There being a way to do it.
I can't tell you because I'm looking at a different thing than you.
All right, give me a second, guys. Let me set up my laptop real quick.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
Right, let's crack on a bit. Hi guys, hello. Sam's put in the post that he's going to talk to people that have got their own businesses.
Yeah,
we're definitely going to be talking to people that have got businesses. I ain't one of them. I'm here to learn as much as probably you guys are. But both of these people are very experienced in real estate, in building, in land purchasing, construction, all of that thing. So hopefully you're going to learn a lot tonight, and hopefully I am too.
Experienced I am, but
the thing is, you'll say what you know, and what you don't know, you'll say.
What's Ven's channel called, by the way?
Ven's channel is called Ven Kor, VENKOR, and his handle on YouTube is @RedneckVen. So that's @RDNK. I think it is RDNK. Yeah, Redneck Ven. RDNK Ven.
Very complicated, I know.
So I've put, there you go, subscribe to the Plastic Russian and Ven Kor.
There you go.
So hopefully, so we're going to talk about businesses today. First of all, I'd like to say I've had a very busy last couple of days with people calling me for advice about Russia. Lots of people have been calling me through my website, just giving free chats, not charging. Or Ben, we've got Ben twice on there. Oh, there he is. Okay, not charging anything, just giving free advice away. And I've had some very interesting phone calls with people. So if you want to have a chat with me, something about Russia, got a question, go to my website, samsrussianadventures.com, and you can book a call there. At the moment, be aware that all the times are in Moscow times. So if you're booking a call at 5:30 in the morning, if you're booking a call at 5 in the evening, it's going to show it in Moscow times. So you just need to work out the time difference to make sure that it's your time, it's going to be available, whatever. Anyway, so a lot of people seem to be really interested in moving to Russia at the moment. And what I want to say is a lot of people, and I guess over this last year,
Ven's back if you want to add him in.
Okay, let me add him yet. There we go.
All right, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great on the laptop.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Yeah, okay, perfect. And your volume's much better now as well, so even better.
So I just wanted to say that a lot of people have been, I guess, you're watching other channels, and I want to say this again because, like, all of the people that you watch on YouTube, I think apart from one guy in Moscow, have either been in Russia for a long time or have a Russian spouse or partner. And so when you're watching channels and thinking, oh, I could do that. Yes, you can do that, but don't expect that immediately. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you watch, I guess the biggest channel at the moment, apart from Russia, what's his name, Traveling with Russell, had to say that, it's Countryside Acres, right?
Yeah, that's
He'll kill me
right.
if I,
That's
kill me if I
channel,
say
yeah.
it's not the biggest, right? So Countryside Acres, and obviously you watch that, it's great, it's entertaining, and there is a chance that when you come to Russia, you'll have that same kind of backing and support by the people and the administration and everyone wanting to do well, and you'll have the same thing. But the chances are for every one Countryside Acres, there's going to be another 999 that are just going to be, you come to Russia, you wake up on the first day and you're like, oh, okay, what now? You know, and so I'll just be aware of that. If you're thinking of moving to Russia, it is great. I love it here. I'm glad that I came here. I've been here 20 years and I love it, right? I'm really glad that I live here. But it takes time to get to the stage where everything, I mean, obviously you're aware when you come to Russia, you know that, you know you're coming here and it's going to be different, but I just want you to be perhaps more realistic as to what it's going to be like when you first get here, because there are going to be, so a lot of people come to Russia because of reasons that they want to leave. They're not happy with the way things are going in their country, but realistically, after a couple of days here, you won't even know what's happening here. And you'll probably be watching the news about what's happening in your country back home, right? Because that's the only, you won't know anything else. So just to let you know, I'm not trying to put anyone off, but that's just a general,
Well,
I don't know.
The biggest,
I think people need to be realistic, don't they?
The biggest thing is the one thing that people forget, and a lot of foreigners forget, you need to learn Russian. That's like the number one thing. If you want to do business in Russia, you need to know Russian, or you need to have a spouse or a husband or a wife that's Russian that's gonna do the business for you, and that's fine. It's like back in the States, you got a lot of Mexican families that the father and the mother don't know English at all, and their kids speak English for them, and that's fine. It will work in Russia, but if you don't have a spouse, you don't have a husband, you don't have a wife, you don't have any family members or close enough friends that can be with you every day throughout your business beginning, it might not work out because you need to know the language. That's like the number one thing that a lot of expats.
And even not just with business, right? Just with day-to-day things, yeah. It's going to be. It was a bit different when I came and when you came, I guess. But now everything's smartphones and stuff, so it's a lot easier to do things. But there'll be days when I'd wake up and think, I need a pencil sharpener, right? Where do I get that from? And it'll just be like, right, blimey, and I need to find the name of the shop, right, that sells these. What's that called, right? And just be, so just things like that will just be.
What is that called, actually?
But it's interesting, right? There's just basic things that you wouldn't even think about doing. You just, do because in your own country, right? And then you come here and you'll be like, I mean, how do I do that? And it's difficult even, I've spoken about this a lot of times, but it's difficult in relationships if you're a man because you're expected to do a lot of things you can't really do because you're going to have to ask people to do it for you, right? So that's another thing that's difficult as well, even if you have a partner. So, yeah. So, let's. So, Ven.
Yeah.
I'm actually meeting you for the first time on this live stream as well.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Good to meet you. I've heard lots of things about you from Chris, Plastic Russian. I know you guys did a live stream together, right? Already.
Yeah, we did a live. My first live stream. Yeah, it was pretty fun.
So, today we're going to be talking about business in Russia because a lot of people want to do business in Russia. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about
Sam, can you delete that moron in the chat, please?
Oh, have we got a moron?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Oh, it's in the chat.
All right. His name's Slava.
Yeah.
I delete him. Okay.
Just keep an eye on that sort of rubbish.
Okay. Slava, you're gone, mate. Sorry. Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about, your history in Russia and what you do and how you came about doing it. And yeah, I don't know.
Well, I moved here in 2019. Before that, I visited Russia many times. I grew up in the States. Like I told Chris my story, I'll say it again. My mother is Russian. My father's American. I grew up in the States, and I spent some time as a kid in Europe also. So I'm kind of like a little bit all around type of guy, I guess. I don't know. But my home, North Carolina, is my home. That's where I feel like where I grew up actually. And yeah, I moved here 2019. And when I moved here, I was thinking for a year, what am I going to do in Russia? I never went to a Russian school. I never learned the proper Russian. The only Russian I spoke was what my mother taught me, and I sounded like I'm from somewhere from the Asian countries, like from Uzbekistan. That's how I sounded when I spoke Russian. That was very, very cool, I guess. Not really, not for business, because when you're over the phone, people just hang up on me.
Yeah, get that.
And I did is I moved here for 1 year. I spent time thinking about what I want to do. I had a business in the States. I've had an auto mechanic shop and a repo. I did repo cars, repossession cars from auctions and stuff like that from banks. I did I sold cars, I fixed cars, I bought cars, I junked cars. I did everything dealing with cars. And I also did house flipping with my mother. We used to buy a house. I did all the work on it, and we would flip it and split the profit. So,
I saw Vanilla Ice did that for a while. I remember that Vanilla Ice was the show where I'd watch flipping houses.
Vanilla Ice, yeah, that's right. And when I got here, I did cars for like about a year. I did cars and four-wheelers. I would buy broken down cars, fix them up, sell them.
Wow.
But the margin for that is very difficult. The auto business is very difficult in here because labor is very cheap. So let's say in America, you got somebody, you got an average family that don't know nothing about cars. Let's say their car breaks down. Let's say the transmission breaks down, right? What they're going to do, they're going to junk the car because homeowners association is not going to let them keep the car on the property. To fix the transmission, it's like $2,500. And it's easier for them to go to a buy here, pay here lot and just buy another car and junk this one. And that's what I did in the States. I would buy that car, I would fix it. Let's say I would buy it for $500. I would fix it for like $250 from a transmission from a junkyard, and I would sell it for like $2,000, make my $1,200 profit. In Russia, that does not work because people here are a little bit smarter when it comes to cars, and labor is cheap. So let's say if you need to change a transmission on the car, the labor is going to be a couple $100 here. It's going to be really cheap. So finding broken down cars was really hard because most people don't want to buy a broken down cars, and the other people don't want to sell the car. They don't want to sell a broken down car because they're going to sell it for less, and they rather fix it and then sell it. So that business wasn't a very profitable business. On average, I would make, and that was in 2019, on average, I would make 30,000 rubles off a car. So about $200, $300. Then I did some parts. I would buy four-wheelers, part them out, take them apart and sell them on that's like the Russian Craigslist. I would sell the parts over Russia. Great business, very slow business because you have to let's say you spend $1,000 on a four-wheeler to get that money back. You got to wait at least 2 months to sell the parts.
When you don't know when someone's going to buy it or not, right? Yeah.
Then you're going to start making the profit. So if you have, let's say you have $100,000 and you can buy 1,000 four-wheelers, that's fine. That's great. I didn't have that kind of money, so I couldn't do that. So that's how I thought to myself, hey, I did remodeling. Why don't I start doing construction? And I sold everything I owned. I bought a RV camper from a 1987 RV camper from Finland. And I bought a lot, and I started building a house on that lot for resale. And since then, I built over 45 houses. I became, I guess I'm quite successful in the building business. I learned all the steps of it with the mortgages, with the land, types of mortgages, types of paperwork you need to do, how to get the crews, where to find the crews, how to deal with the Russian crews, because a lot of them like to drink. And I mean, that's fine. That's people, and that's pretty much, that's what I do. I build houses for sale. budget homes, put like the bottom of the list, like the cheapest houses I can build. That's the ones I want to build. I don't want to build expensive ones because the margin for the expensive houses is a lot less than the margin for cheaper homes, because there's a lot more broke people there than rich people. And that's the whole world. That's not just Russia.
That's great. So really, because I know a lot of people have questions about land types. You know, what can I do on this type of land? What can I do on that type of land? And, you know, and I think so basically, if you have questions, guys, about land, right, and about the regulations, about building,
email me.
Ben is the guy. Subscribe to his channel, ask him those questions, because, because I know some things, but like I don't know enough. Obviously, I haven't, you know, all I've done is build a house, right? Or I've purchased land before and stuff. So I know bits, and my friends work in real estate and stuff, but not enough. So you're the guy that people want to be asking you.
Ben, how can people contact you?
I added my email on my profile.
So sign up.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, I did. I added my email.
Awesome.
So
fantastic.
How difficult for what category of companies did you set up? So to start with, when you were doing mechanics, were you like sole? Were you just like a individual proprietor, or you know what? How
in America or in Russia?
In Russia, in Russia.
Well, in Russia for cars, you don't have to have a business. Comparing it to America, I don't know how it is in England. In America, as a private person, you can sell up to 5 cars a year. That's
right.
It.
Okay.
In Russia, it doesn't matter. You can sell 100 cars as long as you pay taxes on it. And there is an interesting thing. Let's say if you buy a car for 250,000 rubles, and in the bill of sale you put 250,000 rubles, even though you sold it for 500,000 rubles, there's no tax on it.
You're telling these things. I always don't tell these things. I think I'll wait for someone to get here so they can learn this stuff, because it was the same with houses, right? Same with property. It's exactly the same, right? So
yes, unless it's mortgage. Yes, if somebody's buying mortgage, let's say with houses, also you can sell houses as a private person. Your tax will be 13%. If you sell it as an IP, as a business, then your taxes are 6%. If you sell it for cash and the buyer doesn't mind putting a different price in the bill of sale, then you pay less taxes. And a lot of people, they rather have a discount on the house, and they will put a lower price in the bill of sale. That way they can pay less for the house and you can pay less taxes. So that's fine in Russia. A lot of people do it.
So as a construction company, do you have like a EP? Is that what you have, like a business?
I'm official. Yes.
Okay.
I started just as selling a few houses a year, just as a person, just as a regular resident of Russia, and now I'm officially an IP. I got accreditation with all the major banks, so I can build houses for. They have mortgage programs for building. I can do that. So let's say if you have an approved loan, construction loan through Sberbank or Rossельhozbank, and you come to me, I could build your house through that loan, because I'm accredited by the bank.
Brilliant. So this for those who don't know, so it's all like a so in England it's like a sole trader, right? Sole trader where you and you haven't actually had to open a company, right? Where you've just had, but it's just you're going to business on your own. Is that what you are? Yeah. So in America, I don't know what that would be called. Is that individual?
In America, I think that would be called LLC. I'm officially, I can hire people and have them. I have people working for me. I have official payroll, people on the payroll. And the only difference between IP and the OOO is like corporate. So you have 3 types of ways to do business in Russia. The first way is self-employed. You have self-employed, samozanятость. That's the first one. That's pretty much you're a plumber, you're an auto mechanic, you're a carpenter, you make cakes, you have a store on Amazon, Ozon. You know, that's one type of business, and it only goes up to a certain amount of money a year. I think it's up to 6 million, but I think I'm wrong. I think it's less than that. Then the next step is LLC, IP. It's the
Individualny
Individualny предприниматель. That's the IP one. This one is up to 60 million. So if you make up to 60 million, this is the type of business you will have. It's 6% taxes. On the first one, it's also, I think, 6% taxes. Then you have.
So you can have, you can either have 6% or 13, depending on whether you want to have. So 6% taxes on everything you earn, and 13% tax is on just profits. So it depends on how you want to work it out. Yeah.
No, it's a little bit different. Let's say if you're an expat, you come here, you build a house, you want to sell it. You don't want to start a business, you want to sell it. Just try and see how, how's the water. You build a house, you register it to your spouse's name or to your name if you have Russian paperwork. You build a house, you post it, you sell the house. Now you got 13% tax. Let's say you sell the house for 5 million rubles. You have 13% tax. But if you keep all your checks, you have all your receipts, you can deduct from that 5 million rubles all the money that you spent on the house. And then you only pay taxes, let's say, on 2 million rubles that you actually make. It's very generous towards business here. Very generous. And same with IP. The IP, it works the same way. You can either do taxes from everything you earn, or you can do deductibles. Let's say I provide all the checks and all the pay stubs, all the receipts to the Russian IRS, and they deduct that and only pay 6% on taxes of what I make. Right, but it's a big hustle because you have to keep all the receipts and everything. I just do it 6%. It's just a lot easier. And 6% is really not a lot of money. And plus I'm supporting Russia. I'm paying my taxes. So that's a good thing.
I mean, to open this business as well, it's very easy, right? To open. So I had a couple of individual businesses as well. And really
on the phone, 10 minutes.
Yeah, really, really easy. And they've actually got services now. I remember I went to just an accountant. There's lots of accountant places, right? But now you can, I think even in the bank, you can do it now, right? In Spear Bank.
Yeah, banks work with you. Yeah.
You can set it all up there for you. And it's really, really easy. Really, really easy. Some people might want to have an accountant. It's up to you. You've got things like you've got to pay. I don't know if you still have to pay like Strachowoj Nos or something, don't you? At the beginning when you're opening your to open it, I can't remember.
No, you don't have to pay any. Well, there's like a small fees you have to pay, but it's just small fees. You don't have to have like a certain amount of money, bank account or nothing like that to open the IP or the the first one. I can't remember the name I said. Самозанятость. Yeah, the самозанятость one. Yeah.
So it's because a lot of people won't want to come and work in Russia. They either want to retire, live on money that they are earning outside of Russia, or open their own business, I guess, rather than working somewhere. And the thing is, a lot of people maybe have businesses back wherever they're in the country that they're from, that they're coming from. Essentially, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because are you supposed to have a business, back home or not? How does that work? There's obviously regulations with tax and stuff like that. I think it's going to be more a problem if because once you're a resident in another country for 183 days a year, it becomes maybe a problem in the country where your other business is, right?
I think so. Yeah.
But I guess everyone will have to, depending on where you're from originally, you'll have to find out, what the tax laws are. Because I know in the UK, for example, if you're outside of the country for a certain amount of period, you're no longer classed as a resident of the UK, which means has an effect on your business.
Same in Russia. I think they passed out a law that said if you're gone from Russia a certain amount of period of time and don't come back, they can seize your assets. They passed that law out. I think a couple years ago, whenever the whole thing started. I think they did that so people don't live outside of Russia and make profit off of Russia.
Oh, okay. Wow, interesting. So yeah, I don't know anything about that myself. So if you
Same,
if you
yeah.
want to,
There's
you
a
can
lot of things.
go and look up. There's a lot
One
of things. Go on.
one thing with business is you need to have a Russian VNG or Russian citizenship to do business here. That's the simplest way. Or the other way is start a business, put it in somebody else's name, like your spouse, brother, sister, whoever that you trust in Russia, and you can just run it through their name, and that's fine. They can give you a power of attorney, and you can actually do everything yourself, but it's going to be in their name.
I think doing business in Russia, it's really important to do something that, I think if you're going to do it and you don't know Russian, you need to do something that you already know about if you don't speak Russian, because otherwise you're not going to be able to do it. So the first business I had in Russia was really weird, because I came to Russia and I would buy an apartment and sell it, and there was a completely different time, and so the house prices would double in a year. It was the early 2000s. It was a crazy time. But the first main business I did, I opened an English language school, and
Nice.
It was really difficult because it was a non-commercial organization, because we were teaching kids, right, English. So at that time we had to open a non-commercial organization because there's so many things to do with safety of the building and all sorts of things, and it was very, very difficult, very extremely difficult. It was really, really big life lesson for me, because to try and control it and to try and control the employees. So I'm always trying to be a nice guy, right? Never be a nice guy to your Russian employees. Be strict and to the point. Otherwise, they'll try and get away with as much as they possibly can. And the UK, you're used to kind of like the workplace environment being very kind of, I don't know, because obviously it's very woke now, right? But even very kind of correct, and in Russia, if the boss comes in and shouts at you, everyone shuts up, and it's a completely different, completely. You have to have exact. You do things with conviction, and really, otherwise people will walk all over you. And I found that with that business, I learned an awful lot in that business. It was
number one thing in Russia: don't give money in advance.
Definitely don't give money in advance. Yeah, definitely.
Don't give any money in advance. Finish your job now, then you get the money.
So let's ask: is anyone coming to Russia? Does anyone want to open a certain type of business? What type of business do you think? It's weird because I often get this question. Sam,
I made a list.
Oh, you make a list, really?
Yeah, I made a list of easy businesses.
He's prepared
to open.
This guy's prepared.
Yeah, because I'm not prepared at all. I was thinking, blimey, I hope Ven is going to be able to say something.
Oh, I was waiting on you to connect me. I made a little list.
Because a lot of people say to me, and it's very, very interesting question. People say to me, Sam, what business should I do in Russia? I'm like, if I knew that, I'd be doing it, wouldn't I? So it's very difficult. So
my number one business, my number one easy, well, not quite easy, but it's easy if you're a professional. These few businesses I wrote down is for people that are in those businesses out west. So now my number one on the list is dentist. An English-speaking dentist, an English-speaking dentistry. That would be really, really cool for a lot of expats. And I'm not talking about Moscow. There's plenty of them there. St. Petersburg, there's not a lot of them there, but that could work. But I'm talking about other places in Russia, like the south, like Sochi, Anapa, like Krasnodar, outside of Moscow, where the folks from countryside live towards that way. A dentistry. And if somebody's a dentist, they want to move to Russia, they can open their own dentistry. And that would be great because it would be in English language. It could be in French too, because there's a lot of French people in Moscow and St. Petersburg. I mean, Other languages also. Indian, same thing. Hindu. There's a lot of Indians that are moving to Russia. You can open a clinic, a dentist clinic for Hindu-speaking people, and you'll be the
interesting
first.
though, because
can I ask a question? Obviously, you guys, you get asked what business can you open. For me, from what I'm seeing in Russia, it's literally the land of opportunity. Literally everywhere I look, I could either improve the businesses that I'm seeing around me or start new ones. So is it going to be easier if somebody like me asks you what businesses you can't open?
I still think we should see the list, because obviously you made a list.
A weed shop. You can't sell weed in Russia.
Or I'll tell you what I really like.
Well, you can, but the penalty is, whatever the penalty is, and it will be enforced, unlike the West, where you'll be told you're a very naughty boy and you mustn't do it again.
Well, in the States, I think like 20 states are they legalize it.
Yeah,
it's mad. I like, there's one shop that I like, and it's called the Hooker Palace.
Yes.
And it's interesting because obviously, hookers are different things in Russia than they are to the UK. But I always look at that and think, oh, nice hooker palace there. I wouldn't mind going in there. But
I mean, with businesses, you can open any business if you speak Russian.
See, that's the thing I was going to say to you. So let's say that somebody's a dentist, right? How are they going to open a dentistry? I mean, how realistic they're going to have to, what are the legalities, the insurance, the building?
If they don't have Russian paperwork, it'll be impossible. But let's say if they have a wife, that's Russian, or a husband, it's very easy. You can go on Avito right now. Avito is the Russian Craigslist, and you can type in dentist office for rent, and you can rent out already furnished dentistry, a dental office for rent. You can rent it out right now. And to get all the permits, that's not a problem. If you have a degree, an official degree that you're a dentist and all that.
Again, but you're definitely going to need help, because you'll think, what permits do I need and how do I get them? Who do I speak to get them?
With dentists, I don't know what permits, but I'm sure it's doable. I'm sure it's doable.
I still think you definitely need to have somebody to help you to do it.
Of course. Yeah, it's not one of those things like, hey, I'm going to move to Russia and open a dentist office. That's not one of those things. It's one of those things that's going to take you a year, but it's doable. And I mean, it's just for dentists. That's just that criteria, There's a bunch of ones on my little list. My next one is an auto shop, and I know there's plenty of auto shops. There's so many expats that live in Russia, that drive in Russia, and having an English-speaking auto shop with a British or an American or a German or a French mechanic that works there. When people go to that one, I would go there. I'm sorry, if there would be a dude from Texas fixing Ford F-150s in St. Petersburg, I wouldn't be doing my lift kit by myself here. I would just bring it to him, because I know that he's a professional from the States that knows American cars.
It's interesting because because a lot of people will think, it's interesting how it works like that, but a lot of people think it's foreign. Probably doesn't know what he's doing. It's been more expensive. I don't know if that, like in my mind, I'll be like, yeah, it's probably not, doesn't really know what he's doing really. I go to a Russian person instead. But like, do you know what I mean though? Because it's that kind of stereotype. There is that stereotype, right? That, but I think also it's interesting, because do foreigners now go to the Russian auto repairs, or the after service? Do they go there, or do they ask people to help them to go there themselves? Interesting. Yeah, I think it's interesting. There's lots of these businesses. I think you have to, like you said, you'd have to know about I don't know, how difficult would that be as well? You need to order parts. You need to order parts. You'd have to speak Russian, I think, to do it. Or you'd have to, again, you'd still have to know. You'd still have to have a partner.
Yes, you have to have a partner, but it's easier to find a partner opening an auto shop than a dentistry. It's easier to find a Russian partner that wants to partner up. Let's say you're from England and you've been auto gearhead for 20 years. You're moving to Russia and you want to work and you want to open your own business. It'll be easier for you to post an ad on the Russian Craigslist on Avito saying, hey, I'm looking for a partner opening an auto shop that specializes in British cars. That's a no-brainer. If I would have interest in that, I would pair up with a person like that, because that's knowledge that's the kind of knowledge that most Russians don't have. The auto mechanic, the Russian mechanics, they don't have the knowledge of living in England and working Range Rovers firsthand. They don't have that knowledge. They only know how to work on them here, watching YouTube of YouTubers in England fixing them. So that's one of the really cool business. And for auto shop, you don't need any paperwork. You rent the place, you get the self propriety, the samozanятость. You do that, and bam, you're in business. You don't need to do any kind of paperwork, permits, anything for that. That's very simple to open an auto shop in Russia.
Cool. Just to let everyone know, you can't open a business unless you're a resident. You have to be minimum resident, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to be resident.
You can take part in a limited
French
company.
bakery. I like that. The girl said French bakery. Yep.
Yeah, that would be good as well, actually. You can take part in a limited company as a shareholder, but you're still not allowed to work in it unless you've got a work visa, unless you're a resident, right? And then you're allowed to work in your own company. So you can, in theory, come to Russia, find a partner, open a company, but you're still not allowed to work there.
Well, you can work. Nobody's going to check.
Yeah,
it's not.
But still, we should tell people that, how it is, how it officially is, right? So,
you can be an assistant, a verbal assistant, and that's just that means you're not you're not there turning wrenches. You're telling somebody do this.
Kenneth is asking whether to open a business, whether that has to be a temporary or permanent residency.
Okay, so
I think
you can temporary is fine.
With temporary you can open a business with temporary residency. I'm pretty sure you can. I have a friend of mine that owns a shipping business in St. Petersburg. Wow. He doesn't have Russian citizenship, and he owns a business here, and he's only have a temporary visa, I think.
Yeah.
But this is a lawyer question. This is a lawyer question.
Definitely. It's going to depend on the company as well, definitely, because with different businesses, you can have different types of liability. So it's going to depend on the company. But just, if it's just a business for yourself, if you want to be a teacher or, you want to.
Well, teacher's the easiest one. Teacher is very easy. It's the simplest one.
Yeah.
Do you still need a Russian partner for a limited company? M. Bolton wants to know.
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do, yeah. If it's official, yeah.
Because you've got to have between two and 20 shareholders, right? So it has to be, So
is that right? Somebody's told me I'm being very serious.
I'll tell you how Russians do it. I think about 60% of advertisement on Avito is unofficial. It's just some people that rented out a little shop in one of those storage units that you have all around Russia, the Soviet garages. They just rent one out and they work from them. They do only cash, or they do the bank transfers. None of them pay taxes. That's about 60% of workers. I mean, even my guys, I got guys that work for me, and I tell them, like, hey guys, you want to work officially, get official paycheck so you can build up your credit score. They don't want to. They just want to get cash. They don't want to pay that 5 or 6% taxes. They just don't. So most of Russia works not paying taxes, and it's just pay here, get it done, pay here, and go.
Interesting information.
I just want to answer a couple of questions. Somebody's asked, what is a good business for small investment, which I can hire someone to run? And is it viable to enter a partnership with a nightclub owner or strip club? I think these kind of questions really are so broad that they're impossible to answer.
It's hard to answer.
It's just like, which region, what's your expectations? Ask before you ask a question about that in Russia. Ask it of yourself in your own country and see what information you need. If somebody says, about putting central heating in the house, you need to know how many radiators there are. You need to know the size of the rooms. You need some basic info. So before you sort of ask a really broad question that's it's not going to help you, just ask
also,
that question how it
when you're
investing
in something, I say you invest in something that you understand and can control. Because if you don't have control, you're going to get scammed.
No, there's no point of it. Invest in something you know. Or if you have a lot of money, then you can experiment with whatever you want to do. But if you have a limited amount of money, invest or do whatever you know how to do, or just don't do it.
Because there's going to be things. There's going to be
one option is to stick some money in the bank and get some interest coming
get the interest on it.
Well, the best investment is buy a bunch of apartments and just rent them out.
Rent them out.
And I mean, that's if you're moving to Russia and let's say you got $500,000, buy apartments. Just buy apartments and live. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, I think the only thing with that is if I've given this piece of advice to somebody because somebody gave it to me. If you're looking to buy property and get like there's a business visa that if you invest in the country, then you get a free pass to Russia. It's a bit more complicated. Right? It's a bit more complicated than that, but effectively that's kind of where it is. But what people need to remember is if they're buying property to rent out to get a business visa, then it's done on the cadastre price of the property, not the actual value of the property. And to give a rough guide, the cadastre price of the property is less than half the actual market value.
I wouldn't even go down that road now because you can get residency anyway, right? So just come here and get residency. I mean, you can buy an apartment. You don't even have to have. You come in on tourist visa. You can buy an apartment, right? And and then you rent them out, and the price of your house is going to keep going. Apartment's going to keep going up.
It's a fair shout.
So
actually, there's one thing that I've been thinking about for a while is, and I don't know if it's doable and how even to start, what to start with, to start a fund for expats. Let's say you got expats moving here, they can invest in a firm that's going to turn their money, kind of like an investing firm for expats in Russia. But it's very complicated, but nobody's doing it. I mean, I'm sure one day there's going to be somebody that's going to start an investing firm. Let's say you move to Russia. Let's say you got $10,000 in cash. You don't want to spend it. You have a job or whatever. You can invest those $10,000 for, let's say, a yearly 20%. And that company can do whatever with that money. And nobody's doing it.
I'll start that right now. I'll give everybody 10%.
9.
And then all I'll do is I'll stick it straight in the bank and just cream off the top.
Well, I was thinking more with the construction wise, like starting a firm where I would invest people's money in my business and just give them money back with profit. But it's very complicated to do it on a legal level because you're taking money from foreigners. If it was Russians, it's simple. But if it's foreigners, it's a lot. It's a lot more inconvenient. You can't do it. There's really not a law that will let a Russian take money from a foreigner to invest it and then give them back with percentage.
Yeah,
I think when it comes to like businesses that are always going to be popular, things like bakeries have sprung up over the last. So when I first came, there was like, well, you go to the shop and there's white or black bread, and now. There's bakeries on every bus stop, right? There's also chemists. Chemists are everywhere. Are pharmacies. So pharmacies, people are always going to be ill. People are always going to need medicine. So bread, pharmacies.
People always eat. Food is a good business too.
So you have these takeaway shawarma things on every bus stop. People can get a kebab. Then what else? What else is that's always around that you see? They used to have these little Rospichat kiosks, but they're not having as many of them now because I guess people aren't buying newspapers and stuff as much anymore. So there's not as big a demand. A few people have asked. Let's look at some questions. First of all, a lot of people are interested in this question: coming to Russia and making a farm. Anyone have any experience about making a farm? I don't know. I
don't, but it's doable. They have a lot of government programs for independent farmers. I know that for a fact because I looked at some land outside of St. Petersburg on a big property, and the land was for farming. And I thought about like, hey, I can get some cows, I can get some pigs and stuff like that, chickens and all that. And then I thought, that's too much hassle. But I know there's programs for farming and stuff. So yes, you can.
The one with the only thing about the farm is that the type of land you need to have a farm, a foreigner can't own until you have a passport.
Yeah. It's
so you can't own that if you're a foreigner. So you have to open a company, which is a limited company, to have a Russian partner, at least one partner, and then the company owns the land, not you, because and so that's one of the drawbacks. There's always drawbacks. Like people in my group today, people were talking about driving licenses, and that's another thing. So, you know, if you're using your car for commercial use, in theory, you're supposed to have a Russian driving license, right? I mean, how are they going to prove that you're driving to work or not, you know, or what you're doing with it? But there's still certain rules. Yeah.
But you have all the Uzbeks driving taxi with their license.
Interesting, right? But I think the thing is, so the thing in Russia, and this is how it works, and this is how I found it to work. If someone wants to, you could probably drive illegally for 50 years. I'm not saying do it. I'm just saying you could, right? And you'd only get caught when someone wants to catch you driving illegally. And at that point, you probably have a license and you'll still get found guilty, right? But you can drive 50 years without it. So that's kind of how it's going to work. But I'm not encouraging people to obviously drive without a license or anything. Tomorrow I'm going to get loads of crazy comments. The other thing someone was asked about building permits. So I know about building permits a little bit, but you're probably the person to speak to. I don't think they're stressful. They're not difficult. They're just stressful, right? Unless you know.
There's no building permit really. If you're building for yourself, all you have to do is you have to take. There's a code where your house has to be 3 meters from your neighbor's, from the fence, from your neighbor's yard, 5 meters from the road. That's it. Yep. If you're building for yourself.
But you still have to get, in essence, planning permission in order for your house to be officially registered, right?
Nope. You just build a house, get the geological guys to come survey the position of the house on the satellite. Then you get a CD from them. You take it to the MFTSE, like I don't know the equivalent in English of MFTSE. What do you guys think?
I don't know if we have one or not. It's kind of so MFTSE is like multi-functional center,
multifunctional center. Yeah, you take the disc there, and within a week you have your house registered on the map, and it's done.
But you still need разрешение на строительство.
No, you don't.
To make your house official or not? I think you do.
You don't. You don't. The only time I get the registration for the house, not the registration, but the permit to build. There's 2 permits. So you get a permit to start the build, and then you get a permit to finish the build. You get that from the administration of where the land is registered, and you do that for mortgages because banks ask for that.
Okay.
If you're building a house for yourself, you can do it, but you don't have to.
If you want to be propisan there, I think you still have to have I don't know exactly, but I'm sure you do. If you want to have registration or propisan.
I didn't do permits for my house where I live now. I didn't do any permits. I just built it. I registered it, and I've been here for 4 years. And if I want to sell it, I can sell it. But if I will sell it through, let's say, a certain mortgage, the bank will not approve the loan because I don't have that permit. That permit is more for the banks than for private use.
Okay, cool, brilliant. So there you go. You see, guys, if you want information about anything to do with building, Ven is definitely the guy, because I would have given you bad advice, and you would have stressed to try and get these permits that you don't need.
No, the building, guys, I know this is my topic. I know what I'm talking about when it comes down to building and permits.
Yeah,
and all
definitely.
That.
There's a few things you still have to get. If you want to get gas connected and things like that, you still have to go around and run around a little bit, right?
Well, you have to
electricity
apply. depends which line is the gas line, which company runs the gas line, because there's like companies that run the gas line, and you need to go through their website. Usually it's the website or their phone number, and you just connect it. If gas is available, if it's throughout, like not far further than 10 meters from your lot, then you can connect it. If it's, let's say if you have a house here and the gas is 200 meters over there, that's going to be a pain in the butt to connect it.
Okay, cool.
The line, the gas line, I mean, the buried gas line.
Okay, cool.
I just want to answer M. Bolton very quickly regarding interest in the bank. He's asking what the taxes are. As far as I'm aware, you can earn 150,000 rubles on savings before you pay tax. I think that's right. So that would be your interest on your savings. So I think if you put roughly 1 million rubles in an account, the savings on that, the interest on that, will just tip you into paying tax. However, that's per person. So if you've got a 4 or 5 person family, you can all bang 1 million rubles in the bank and earn interest off of it. So you can
there's actually a couple of apps that show you the different banks and the different. You can keep moving your money in and out of different banks. They have like, put in there for a month, earn that amount of percentage, and then
because my bank will give me good interest rate, but it must be on money that's not held in the bank for previous 2 months, so it has to come from another bank. So I guess that's what you need to do: open 2 or 3 bank accounts and just move your money around.
So we've got another question for Ben about how you can answer it. It's really good. I'm just giving you all the questions. You can answer them. I can eat my chicken salad. House prices. How do house prices differ to Western Europe, US, Canada?
I don't know about Europe, but to US, they're very different. I mean, the houses I build, on average, they sell for about $65,000. That's turnkey, no furniture, but the house is ready. You got the plumbing, the electrical, everything. It's a budget home. You don't have anything equivalent to that in America right now. You just don't. You cannot buy a house of 100 square meters for $65,000 in America anywhere. I mean, you might find a trailer from 1988, on a quarter-acre lot, sure, somewhere in Wisconsin, but you're not going to find anything close to what I'm building here or what other builders are building here outside of St. Petersburg or Moscow. Because you have a big city, you have 30-40 minute drive from the city, and the prices here are a lot cheaper than in the States by a huge amount, a lot.
Interesting, yeah. And same with the UK. You virtually can't buy, anything for, you can get an apartment here, 1-room apartment. You can't get anything in the UK for that. Okay. I don't know what he means, but
I'm talking to Charles Superior. It's all right. It's a special code. She just made a comment about something that I'd already told her about previously in a private chat. So I'm just sort of saying you've got 2 ears for listening and 1 mouth for talking.
Oh, we've got the private chat, haven't we, as well? I forgot about the private chat.
There's a lot of comments in the chat, and I can't read all of them. They're coming in too fast.
So somebody's asked if there are property management companies, as in companies that manage the apartment building. Yes,
there's plenty.
So if you've got an apartment building, you pay a little fee each month, and they'll look after that, make sure your balcony doesn't fall off. Although I don't know anyone ever checks those balconies. I'm sure one's going to fall one day. And then just things like maintenance and stuff, and obviously, then sometimes they'll maybe say, "Oh, guys, you want to fence around the building? Everyone get together and pay this amount." So
I'm just going to interrupt you very quickly. Vlad M in the chat has been posting a lot of useful information, so he seems like he understands a lot of the Russian system when it comes to contracting, etc.
That is, I think that's my buddy that's a builder in Russia. He's also a builder. I sent him a link. So I think that's my boy Vlad. Vlad, what's up? That's him. If he's posting useful information, then I'm 90% sure that's him.
Yeah, it seems very useful and very, very, what I would say, clued up, very switched on. So, Vlad, welcome to the chat. And yeah, please carry on posting. You're answering a lot of questions that people are asking as well. So that's really good.
That's him. He just answered.
So I can actually add to that, because I know a lot of people are talking about in the chat now about putting money in the bank and earning interest. Plastic Russians, I don't know, has it gone for a poo maybe or something? So basically, one of the requirements for temporary residency, and I don't know why, but all the people that have been making videos about it haven't talked about this. So one of the requirements for temporary residency is that unless you're a pensioner, you have to once a year provide to the police or the immigration, it's all in one place now, and show that you've been earning money, right? To show if you've either got a job or you're working in a business, basically show that this amount of money I've been earning it this year. You've got to earn officially over the minimum wage for that region. But you don't necessarily have to actually have a job. They want to make sure you've got income source, and that income source has to be within Russia, right? So you could be a millionaire in America, a billionaire, right? But if you're not earning anything in Russia, then you don't. Then after your year of residency, you've got nothing to show. But what you can do, you can just simply put money into a bank account in Russia, and as long as the interest pays you more than the minimum required salary for that region, then that counts as a source of income in Russia. Right, so that's a good thing. So if someone wants to come here and they're like, I don't want to work, but I've got a bit of money, put it into a bank. The bank will earn you more than the minimum requirement of minimum salary in that region, and that's it. And then you just print off that bank statement. Go to the when you go to show your money that you've been earning. You just once a year you have to fill out this form. It's called Uvidомление or dohoda. It's
Доход, на доход, yeah.
So you'd have to show your income basically, you'll just go and say, look, this is my bank statement. This is the money I've earned from interest. It doesn't matter if you have $1 billion in the bank. They don't care about the money you put in the bank. It's about showing that you've earned that interest in Russia. And that's your income source in Russia, basically. So that's one of the ways around not actually having to work, but they just want to see that in Russia you have an income source. So
yeah, and the minimum wage in Russia is a lot less than in Europe or the United States. A lot less. Just so people somebody asked, where do you find salary minimum?
Google it probably.
Salary numbers.
Probably Google.
Yeah, well, Google is not quite accurate. If you look at minimum wage in Moscow and St. Petersburg, that's completely different from the rest of Russia. Let's say in St. Petersburg right now, if you want to if you want to rent a studio is going to cost you 25,000 rubles a month. That's about 250 pounds a month. That's how much rent's going to cost you on a studio. Let's say you want to live an hour and a half away from St. Petersburg in Veliki Novgorod. Rent there, you can rent for 100 pounds a month. That's this huge difference in wages. So somebody that lives in Veliki Novgorod that works at a factory, they're going to make 25,000-30,000 rubles a month compared to somebody that lives in St. Petersburg, they're going to make 50,000-60,000 rubles a month.
So in Vladimir, the minimum wage is 19,000 rubles for this year. So
in where?
In Vladimir. So I live in Vladimir. It's like in between Moscow and Nizhny Novgorod. And it's so the minimum salary is 19,000 rubles, which is like $250 basically. So you'd need to earn $250 a month essentially.
But there's a big but. Since this is the going back to our conversation about different types of businesses. The one that's corporation. Let's say you have a corporation in Russia, the OOO. And you have employees, you have to pay taxes for them. And the taxes are quite high, actually. I don't remember the numbers, but what they do in Russia is they pay people minimum wage and they substitute bonuses. And the bonuses don't count as the salary. So a lot of places show the minimum wage less than what people actually make because they have the bonuses that come in for them to so the corporation don't pay taxes, as much taxes as they should on the proper salary with people. It's
you also
sneaky.
have to pay the pension as well. You have to pay the pension.
Yeah, there's
that
also
comes out of it as well, and also the insurance comes out of it as well. So that people are paying. So obviously that's how people get free healthcare.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna be doing something like a limited company, something like that, then you need a lawyer, because there's not a lawyer or bookkeeper. You need
bookkeeper. Yeah.
you're going to need those things. If it's just an individual thing, I'd still recommend having some sort of bookkeeper, just so you make sure you pay your tax on time. Just to make sure you do the things that you need to do. Bookkeepers are, you can sign a contract with a bookkeeper where you pay a very minimum amount of money. You go and see you once a month for an hour and sit down.
Very cheap here.
Yeah. So, and obviously then those bookkeepers also have the responsibility, right? So it's their fault if something's wrong. So
no, it's still your fault.
It depends what the contract says, I think. But yeah,
my bookkeeper screw up some numbers beginning of this year, and I had to pay, not the bookkeeper. In Russia, you can't sue nobody. That's the other thing. Like, let's say your bookkeeper or your worker screws up something, and you're the owner of the business, you're gonna pay for that. So let's say a good example. If the roof's gonna leak on one of my houses, who's gonna fix it?
Talk to me about leaking roofs.
I'm gonna fix it. My employees, my guys, they're not gonna do anything. If I go to them and tell, hey, you guys screwed up the roof, you need to fix it. They can tell me, go screw yourself. We don't work for you anymore. They can just leave. If I tell them that they're not getting paid for it. But if I pay them, they're gonna fix it. So in Russia, it's doing business is very interesting. Depends what kind of business, because if you're the owner of the business, everything is on your shoulders. I'm talking about construction. All the warranties, everything is on you. You cannot tell people like, hey, I'm sorry that your window's leaking. The guys that installed the window from Leroy Merlin, they screwed up. They don't care because they bought the house from you. You're the contractor. So that's one thing to keep in mind about certain businesses in Russia.
It's interesting because there's loads of things and loads of stories I'd like to tell about business in Russia, right? But I don't want. There's the right way. There's the right way, and there's other ways, right? But I think it's up to you. It's up to me to tell you the right way, and then when you come here, you'll learn the other ways, right? I think because otherwise someone will do what I say, and they'll say, "Well, you didn't say you can do that."
Sam told me to do it. Yeah, just don't go there.
So you'll find out different ways of doing stuff when you're here, and you from experience, right? That's how it'll come.
It's different here. It's whatever you think the business. You've ran business in UK or America. Russia is completely different. Completely different. It's a different world.
Chris keeps just disappearing for a second. I wonder if he has to fart or something. He does the massive fart and then comes back on again.
Bathroom breaks.
Bathroom breaks, yeah.
Who, me?
Chris, what's going on? Are you having like massive farts and then turning it off for 2 minutes, for 30 seconds, and then coming back on again?
That's a quick bathroom break, Chris.
Yeah, no, not at all, guys. So I've no idea what's going on there. I keep dropping in and out. Might be my Wi-Fi connection.
Asked, Fellini, is that how you pronounce the name? Sorry if I've murdered it. Asked about the country list for the residency. Everyone's still waiting. So no update yet. Another thing, somebody's written, Sam says don't build a house in Russia if you don't have experience, and the Countryside Acres are doing it, right? Look, Countryside Acres, as I said at the beginning of the video, they're like the 1 in 1,000, right? They are they're the poster child of moving to Russia. And so they've got a lot of support from Russians, right? That are, want to help them, and from the local administration that wants to help them, and so they've been able to do a lot of things that, if you look at there's another YouTube channel, right? Australian guys in Altai. Now they've been building their house for ages, right?
Yeah.
They're building the house for ages, and it's, they're nowhere near doing anything, right? And so that's probably more likely the scenario that if you go out and do stuff rather than, to be fair, they've been building it for ages, right? It's a bit weird. But anyway, that's more of a realistic life, right? So when you see the Countryside Acres building a house, brilliant, they're building a house, obviously that's great. Don't expect your life to be like Countryside Acres life, because that's just like and if you watch that and think, wow, I come to Russia and build a house in a month. Yeah, I mean, it's, so that's why. So Koshka Miao, you actually asked you lots of questions. You told me about a new work visa, and I asked you lots of times to tell me about the new work visa, and you never replied. I don't think you like replying to comments, just like commenting. So anyway, what other questions have we got? Let's scroll down. Countryside Acres has farm experience as well. This is why. With regards to making a farm, probably, that's what we're saying. Yeah. So if you want to open a business in Russia, do something Kyle. Yeah, definitely. They know about farming, so they'll be able to.
Something else that's probably
worth
mentioning that I've noticed: if you're renting a property, if you're thinking of buying a portfolio of properties and renting them out, your rental value is completely different here to it would be in the UK. Case in point, to give you an example, if you bought a 2-bedroom property for say 10 million rubles, all done, ready to rock and roll, with the intention of renting it out, the rent that you would get on that would take you something like 36 years just to recover the capital. That's without any losses or any repairs or anything. So to just buy a property with the intention of somebody paying the mortgage or with the intention of it generating income, you'd be better off putting the money in the bank.
Depends where.
Sorry?
Depends where.
It depends where, obviously, and also it depends on whether the price of the property goes up a lot. But just looking around sort of my local area, if you bought a 10 million ruble house and then rented it out, you'd rent it out for between 25,000 and 30,000 rubles a month. So if you're just looking to do that, you've really got to rely on the property increasing in value a lot to make it worthwhile. Yeah. Otherwise, you're better off just investing the money and not having the hassle. Because remember, when you're renting something out, you've got breakages, you've got to deal with bad tenants once in a blue moon. Although Russia's a different area when it comes to respect, you wouldn't have that here like you would in the UK, but it will still happen. So that's just something to bear in mind. It's not going to be you pay 10 million rubles for a house and then earn £1,000 a month off it. It's not going to be.
There is one place in Russia where you can invest money in real estate for rent and get it back quicker. That's Sochi. Sochi is a completely different place. Let's say you buy an apartment in Sochi for 10 million rubles, right? You'll get that money back within 5 years.
Because so much demand and not enough houses. Interesting, actually.
It's a tourist city. It's a tourist town. And during summertime, the rent is through the roof, and you'll make a lot more on the rent than renting it out in Moscow or in Nizhny Novgorod or St. Petersburg.
I suppose as well, because of the not so many Russians traveling abroad now, everyone's traveling to places like Sochi as well. Yeah, so yeah, good advice.
And Sochi is the only place that's got the mountains, that's got the beach, that's got all in between, and it's got the good climate. That's the only place in Russia that you don't have snow during wintertime. Well, you might get a week of snow. That's about it. But that's the only place in Russia. So that's one of the places. If you have money, you can buy 5 apartments in Sochi, buy them, and rent them out.
So a couple of people have asked some questions. How to transfer money from the UK? Blimey, it's a difficult one. There's a few companies out there that are doing different ways to transfer money, but oh man, it's difficult. Chris, I've made a video about it, but I've heard a few of those companies now no longer transfer money. So
crypto, everything is crypto now. I mean, there's plenty of companies that transfer through cryptocurrency. It's quite easy. And the other way, I think, and this is not my knock of the woods, but you can transfer. There's companies in Dubai where you can transfer money from England to Dubai and from Dubai to Russia, because Dubai is not sanctioned. Well, Emirates are not sanctioned. Not sanctions. I mean, they're not countries that hate Russia. So Russia does business with them. So you can do it through Dubai, through Emirates. But I don't know how. I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know about either enough. So there's a method that I use, but I'm not going to say it. So, you know, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I've made a video about it, and there's a couple of sources in there that still work. So if you want to watch that video about transferring money. So another question is, so people have said, you know, what's the percentage you could earn in a bank? So it depends. Depends, because there's some where you'll open a bank account and it's in a bank account that you sign an agreement for, I don't know, so a certain amount of days, let's say 90 days or a year or whatever it is. You can't withdraw the money for that time.
Yeah,
right?
It's frozen.
So you'll get, yeah, so it'll be frozen. You can't access your money, but the percent will be higher. If you want to withdraw money, then you'll be on a normal kind of, you know, percent. So, why won't you say? Okay. So no, I want to tell you the ways to do things that you're allowed to do stuff. So I'm not going to tell you things that you might get you in trouble. Somebody asked if there is, you know, can you hire a translator? Yeah, you probably can hire a translator if you need to, if you're walking around and you want a translator. But I'd say best thing to do is meet somebody who, look, if you come to Russia, right, you're a tourist, walk into any language school and say, I'm a foreigner, I don't have any friends here, I'm quite happy to sit in with your conversation clubs if you have one, and you know, and I can maybe help in the conversation club if you have one, or something like that. You know, just go to them and say, you know, I'm quite happy to volunteer in your classroom. Anything.
Avito.
You know,
just go to
you're going to make loads of friends. Yeah.
Just go to Craigslist, the Russian Craigslist, Avito, type in translator. There's so many Russians that speak English that would translate for pennies on the dot. I mean, there's
you're going to make friends as well. You're going to, if you go to somewhere like, you know, where there's people that will be interested in meeting you as a foreigner, you'll end up making friends there. And so, you know, they'll be interested in speaking to you in English. You'll probably hang around with them. And then when you go out places, you know, you can ask them to translate stuff for you.
Ven, you know, is it, just asking a question regarding buying property in Sochi, is it, I understand correct, that foreigners can't buy in 12 regions or 12 districts in the Krasnodar region, Sochi being one of them?
I'm not sure about
do
that.
not know.
That is something I don't know. I have a Russian citizenship, so
so you have to be a Russian citizen to buy on border towns or in border regions. So there are 12 districts in the Krasnodar region that foreigners can't buy property.
I'm pretty sure you can buy in Sochi. I have a friend of a friend that lives in Sochi that bought a house, and he's from the United States, and he doesn't have a Russian citizenship, and he bought a house. And when I asked him, he said it's in his name. I don't know how he did it, but I'm pretty sure Sochi might be the exempt.
Okay. It's interesting.
Because investing ground. I mean, Sochi is like it's like Monaco. It's like Myrtle Beach, Miami. You know, it's a place where a lot of investments are getting done right now because it's growing and people want people with money in Sochi.
Maybe it's under an investment banner rather than a domestic property.
I don't know. That's a lawyer question. That's we need to get a lawyer on our talk show.
Yeah.
So he can answer all the questions.
Somebody else has asked, health stores in Russia. It's interesting, health stores, because there's loads of stores now that sell healthy things, right? So in Russia, most of the food is going to be healthier than in Western countries, because we have rules about, you know, organically grown versus non-organic, and I can't remember what the exact rules are. I'm not really a massive health person, just trying to eat healthy if I can, but I order pizza all the time. Yeah, the food is generally healthy. We have a self-acclaimed health store called Vkursville that kind of sell. It's kind of Vkursville is like goodwill, good. So Taste Town, maybe it's called or something like that. Yeah, Taste Town. But basically, yeah, they kind of sell healthier stuff. It's a little bit more expensive in there, but there's loads of healthy.
There's markets.
Russians eat healthy, right?
There's a lot of weekend markets that People sell their own food all over Russia. If you know the right place where to go on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, you have like farmers markets that people bring food and just sell. If you really want homegrown food, you do that. I mean, that's what we do. We go to a market. Any city's got a market where a bunch of babushkas bring their the grown food from the gardens and just sell it.
The doctors,
So it's quite easy in Russia to get healthy food.
Anybody got idea what the monthly rental on 2-bed apartment would be in Novorossiysk? Stuart, just go to Avita.ru and then type in Novorossiysk and select
rent
2-bedroom apartments, and then you're going to get a list of all the 2-bedroom apartments and the prices.
Make sure you do it long term, not day by day.
Oh yeah, so there'll be two. They'll be say what's it called?
1,200. It's like 1,200 a day, and otherwise it'll be like 20,000 a month. Yeah, it's a big difference.
What other? Have we got any questions? Chris, you're usually the question person. I've got a feeling like
I'm trying to keep up with them.
You're on I think you're on another site. I think maybe you're on
Let's go down my list.
Yeah, do you know what? I've literally, because this is an area that I know nothing about, because I don't work, I haven't got a business, so I have no understanding of this. I haven't built houses. I've got no understanding about buying real estate or anything like that. So really, I'm listening to you guys. And I'm looking at the chat, and there's so much information going on in the chat. I really would say to people, do you know what? Watch this on the replay and look through the chat, because there's so much good information there.
So Gavin James has said, "What's the site, please?" So I guess you're referring to the real estate site. But Avita is not so. Avita is like everything, from underwear to services to real estate to cars, everything, right? So
it's like Facebook Marketplace. That's what it is. It's Facebook Marketplace. It's Craigslist. It's got everything on it.
It's regarding buying real estate in Sochi, Artem has said, so in order to buy real estate for a foreigner in Sochi, he must have proof of his legal stay in Russia, both a visa and a temporary residence permit, as well as a residence permit with migration.
Okay.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you for the information.
What is the sunniest spot in Russia? I'd say
my garden.
Krasnodar.
I'd say Krasnodar. So Krasnodar. So obviously Sochi is in Krasnodar region, right?
It's 300 kilometers.
Krasnodar is crazy hot.
Krasnodar.
Yeah, Krasnodar is crazy hot in summer. It gets up to like 40 odd.
Yeah.
And also in summer, Volgograd is also crazy hot.
Yeah, Volgograd. Yeah.
And they're not far from each other.
Yeah,
Volgograd's
I'm quite happy
in winter, but Krasnodar's not really cold in winter. So
I'm quite happy with my region because it's not very humid. It's just nice and hot. I was in the pool today. It was 29 degrees air temperature outside and 28 degrees in the pool.
Nice.
Has your pool got one of those things where if someone does the dirty in there, it turns blue and you can see that they did it or not?
That's a myth.
Yeah,
I've never been to a
it's
pool
that.
Because I'm thinking of coming to your pool and doing it, and I want to know if I'm going to be showing up or not.
Yeah, do it, mate. You'll only do it once.
I just don't talk about it, but I always do it. I think everybody does it.
Not in my pool.
I remember I had a friend that was horrified that I went for a wee in the sea. I was like, everyone does that. Why else do you go to the sea for?
What do you think the fish do?
You know, yeah.
Yeah, I've never been to a pool that's got the blue, the water turning blue after you pee. I think that's a myth.
I think maybe it's in the movies or something, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I only seen it in movies.
I think they probably just use a blue dye to make it look like there's a thing,
it was
right?
good while it lasted. We had 78 minutes before it degenerated into this.
So somebody's asked, get the Countryside Acres lawyers on, lads. So I suggest you reach out to lawyers, because I've been on the phone. So on my site, as you might know, I'm offering a service where you can just call me, book a call, and speak to me about anything to do with Russia. And I've spoke to quite a few people recently, and most of the people already have lawyers, and they're already moving to Russia. And some of them are working with Countryside Acres lawyers, but a lot of information they don't know about as well. So yeah, there's a lot when it comes to, obviously the lawyers are going to help you with specific topics, and I guess you have to be specific with them to ask, how do I open a business, and they'll go through it all. But then there's lots of other things that there's so many extra parts to anything, like just I don't know, when it comes to, like I was saying in my group today about, in my Telegram chat group, people were saying that, how do I, can I come and work as a taxi driver? Well, you can, but you need a Russian license. Who needs a Russian license? What country are you from? Can you transfer it? It depends. There's so many different moving parts depending on what country you're from, depending on what stage of residency you're on, I think what kind of license you need. There's so much stuff.
It's the Geneva Convention.
Geneva Convention, right? Yeah.
No, Vienna Convention.
Vienna, is
Vienna
it?
Convention.
Geneva, Vienna.
Vienna Convention for driving license.
It's the road traffic convention, basically.
Convention. Yeah. In Russian, it's Geneva or something like that. Yeah, it confuses me. But yeah, you can do it. I have my neighbor. My neighbor here is actually he's still driving on Ukrainian license, and he drives a taxi, and he's fine. So
okay. So there's
just going back to the comment you were just making there, Sam. I think what I'd like to say to people is before they go and get a lawyer, you need to do some research. People, from what I'm seeing, are just seeing somebody else has done this particular route with this particular lawyer, so they're doing the same thing. And then all of a sudden they're in with a lawyer that they're paying money to that may not be giving them the right advice for their situation. It might be completely different. People need to do some basic research. They need to ask some questions before they get to those sort of points, and there's certain things that it's a bit like people in the UK. If you land in the UK and you become, immigrated into the UK, there's nothing to stop you just traveling around. The UK is quite small. UK fits into Russia 70 times. If you want to come to Russia, a lot of people think they're just going to turn up in Russia and go and wander around a bit. It's not like that. Your visa ties you to a particular region. There are exceptions to that, but it isn't a case of just coming to Russia and just going wandering around the country, deciding where you want to live. You've got to do some basic research. And before you lawyer up, because if you lawyer up and then you start coming onto YouTube channels and asking people this, that, and the other, you're just going to end up with a load of conflicting information and get nowhere. So ask some basic questions before you go down a footpath that might be the wrong one for you.
Yeah. And one thing, before you move to Russia, come visit. Come visit, spend a month in Russia. Just come visit before you decide to move here. We had this girl last winter, Felicia, from North Carolina. She just packed up her shit and moved to Russia. After spending 2 weeks in Russia, she moved back to North Carolina. She moved here with $1,000, and she found some stay-at-home babysitter job on Avito for 20,000 rubles a month. I mean, pretty much people used her for her, English skills. She spent here 2 weeks and she left. So never been to Russia. She just packed up and moved here, spent here 2 weeks and left back. First of all, she came here during January, the coldest month in St. Petersburg. From North Carolina, that's cold. I'm sorry. It's not going to be pleasant. So before you decide you want to, hey, I'm going to move to Russia, come visit. Spend a couple weeks here, spend a couple weeks over there, different towns, different regions of Russia. Figure out what you like most, and then ask yourself, do I really want to move there? Do I really want to go with that step? And then move. And then once you decide to move, then ask for help. Then ask other people, hey, what can I do?
You've got to absolutely. I mean, I put a video on my channel about the climate, and a lot of people have just sort of gone climate, blah blah. But people have to understand that Russia's a big place, and the climate makes a huge difference. And I think personally, it's something that you really need to consider at the beginning. What climate do you want to live in? And then you can start to narrow it down. Have a look at the video on my channel regarding that, because it just explains the steps to actually get to a point where you think, right, that's where I want to go and live. It isn't a case of just sticking a pin in the map. It's not as simple as that. Kenneth has asked how he can get in contact with Ven Kor. to build a house? Does he have a YouTube channel? Guys, the info is in the description of this on YouTube. There's a link to my channel. There's obviously Sam's channel, and there's a link to Ven's channel as well. But it is at RDNKVEN, so at Redneck Ven is his YouTube handle, and his YouTube channel is Ven Kor, VEN space KOR. And Ven has kindly put his email address on that now, so that should make life a lot easier. So, guys, please subscribe to Ven's channel. Obviously, subscribe to Sam's channel if you haven't already, and mine as well.
Yeah, make sure you do. Otherwise, what was the point? What was the point in today? You know, I'm joking, obviously. So, is a lawyer necessary? So it depends, right? So, I didn't have a lawyer to get him to go through the process, but it really just depends on how confident you are just going and doing it. It's not that difficult, really, to apply for residency, for example. It's not difficult, really. Lawyer, depending on what, if you're going to open a corporation, then I would lawyer up. When it comes to just moving to Russia, see, I think also you can come to Russia and maybe you can come and live for a while, or maybe you can come and get a job for a few months, come in on a work visa and maybe work somewhere, work as a teacher for a few months, right? Then it doesn't necessarily mean selling everything you've got on all your properties and moving here. You can come and see, right, first, and then, but coming and see doesn't also mean you can just come for a week, right? You could say, right, I'm going to try Russia out, go and get a job, right? On a work visa. Somebody else asked, is there a work visa that you can come and get any job? No, that doesn't exist. A work visa is you apply for a job and the company who you will work for will make an invitation for you that you will then use that invitation to create a visa which allows you to work only for that company. Yeah. So if you want to come to Russia and apply for jobs in Russia or try different companies, then you'll need to come and apply for residency, which is the temporary residency permit, which is the thing that they're now removing the barriers to. So you don't have to take a Russian exam and you don't have to worry about limited places.
What they can do, they can come visit for a month, look for jobs, find a company they like, go back to their country and have that company make them an invitation to work for them. They can do it like that too.
Yeah. And another thing, if you're looking at going the lawyer route, I mean, somebody has put that not Countryside Acres, expat American's wife gives information out regarding that. But you've got to remember that they're going to give you information mainly based on the region that they live in, because that's what they know about. They'll be able to advise you on rental, they'll be able to advise you on business opportunities, that kind of thing in their area. But before you get anywhere near there, you must understand that this country is massive. And there is such a variation from region to region in climate, in temperature, in time zones. It's just a huge country. So before you get there, before you start talking to lawyers and all of this, you've really got to start at step one. Otherwise, you're going to start talking to a lawyer, you're going to go down a path, and then all of a sudden you're going to find yourself coming to a country where you turn up at 1 month in June or July and the weather's perfect, and you get to December and you can't live there because it's just not for you. So you've really got to focus on climate first, understand what kind of environment you want to live in, then start going down that path, then narrowing it down to what towns and what districts you want to live in. Then you can start looking at advice for that specific region. Otherwise, you're just going to get generalized advice from people that's maybe not going to be right for you and may not help you.
So a law, if I've pronounced your name right, sorry if I haven't, I'm sorry, asked about why do we need a visa to leave Russia if we have temporary residency. So basically, it depends on the region, okay? So when I got my temporary residency, you put a stamp in the passport, and then there's a separate visa. The visa is to travel in and out of Russia. It's like they need something to scan, right? When they go into the airport, they'll have all your documents, it'll have a code in it, and they'll scan it or whatever, right? And they'll scan it into the computer. So they'll either, when you get your temporary residency, it will have the visa underneath it that will say temporary residency, will say RVP underneath it. If it has that, then that's fine. You don't need to apply for a separate visa. If you get your passport and it just has a stamp in it, likelihood is that they give you a piece of paper to sign once you receive your residency, and on that piece of paper it will say the things that you have to abide by, and one of the points will be using the visa to travel in and out of Russia, the amount of days you can spend in the country, things like that. They'll have the main points. And so if you're going to travel, you need to make sure that you have the visa. The reason I'm saying it is because I've seen people go to the airport and you get to the airport and they say, well, you don't have the visa stuck in your passport. And they're like, well, I've got the residency. They're like, yeah, but you still have to apply for the separate visa. It's not that you're not going to get it. It's just the document required to travel. That's all it is. And so some places will give you it automatically, and some places will say you need to come and fill in a form, and it'll make it for you. It'll take a week. That's all. That's the only thing. So it's not you have to get a separate visa, like apply for it as in applying. It's as in filling a form for them to do it. That's all. Yeah. So some people have said it's changed now. If it has changed, then that's great. So when you get your temporary residency, you'll open your passport. It'll have a thing that's a printed stamp, and if it has a visa underneath that, that's fine. That's your travel document. There you go.
Also, there's a lot of groups for each city in Russia. You have Telegram groups of expats, and it's also a good idea. Just go into one of those groups. We have a group here in SPB. I think it's called Expats, SPB Expats, and you can ask people that actually live here. Hey, I need some help with this. I need some help with that. Let's say you come to Moscow, you need some help with whatever. There's plenty of groups in Moscow chat room on Telegram that you can just log in, ask people, will help you right away.
That's good. I mean, Telegram groups are so cool now. Like, I've got a Telegram group for the village and Telegram group for the street in the village. It's so cool. Like, you know, and every now and again, someone will have an argument in there and you just sit back and be entertained. It's quite good. Obviously, they're good for advice as well. You know.
And we've all got Telegram groups as well. Ven, you've got a Telegram group, haven't you? Or have you not done that yet?
No, I just have my own Telegram. I don't have a group though.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
You'll have one soon. I think you should make one.
I will one day. I will make it a week from now.
So another question that I saw. I'll say Sam said the facilities are better in Moscow region, health facilities. They are. Just everything's better in Moscow. So there really are two Russias. Maybe.
There's Moscow and then there's Russia.
Yeah. So there's Moscow and Russia, not in the same state that Board and Bankrupt shows in Moscow's amazing and everything else is rubbish, but as in Moscow is better, right? It just is. Things happen in Moscow first. I mean, we do have other cities that are really good. St. Petersburg, obviously, is like the second city, right? And then Sochi, Krasnodar, and I guess Yekaterinburg. I've never been there, but I can't imagine it being that good. But they actually have skyscrapers there, so but it's blooming cold. But yeah, so everything is just generally better, and they get it first in Moscow. And if you're a resident, you get access to free healthcare just as the Russians do.
Yeah.
Some places they might have a charge for something. If you go to a polyclinic, they might say, "Oh, you're not a citizen; you have to pay 100 rubles or something." But generally, everything is the healthcare is free as you're a resident. So yeah, but they are going to be better. So a lot of people, what they do is, a lot of Russians, if they have money, they will purchase an apartment in Moscow, so that when they need healthcare facilities or need something doing, like an operation, they can go to Moscow to have it done because they're registered in Moscow. Because everybody is registered in a particular, you register an address. So if you're registered in Moscow, you get to use Moscow health.
The private sector is so cheap. The clinics are so cheap. I had a root canal
ridiculous,
now
right?
done. The past couple weeks I've been working. I had a dentist in my tooth, and this is like pristine, top of the line dentistry. I mean, it's nice. You got the chandeliers. He was working on the microscope. I mean, high tech everything. I think I spent like $270 to get a root canal done. That is cheap.
Yeah, dentists are ridiculously cheap. I always go there. I've got the worst teeth in the world. Look, just to prove it, I always go. Well, that probably shows that I don't go, basically. But when I do have to go because it's killing, I've got a toothache. I'm always thinking, oh man, have I got enough money on my card? And it finishes on like just ridiculous price. I'm like, that's crazy. How did that happen? It was so cheap. So yeah. So how much are dental costs again? So last time I went to the dentist, just to let you know, I had root canal thing. They had to take my filling out, clean it, put it back. Then they did the root canal thing. Then they had to open it again, clean it, put it back, and then finally put the real plumber, what's it called, filling in, permanent one. And it cost me like altogether, it cost me like $200. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculously nice, ridiculously clean. Everyone's nice. It's just like it's strange. Yeah.
Wise Cat has asked how we find you on Telegram. So, Sam, that is Sam's Russian Adventures.
Oh, okay. Yeah, join my Telegram.
Yeah, mine is the Plastic Russian. And Ven, have you got a Telegram? Redneck Ven. Is that RDNK Ven?
Yep.
The same
way.
Yeah. So it's all the same. It's our usernames on YouTube. It's the same for Telegram. So yeah, if you're looking at join the Telegram groups, and just remember with Telegram, it's not always obvious.
Nope.
So you need to click on that.
Also about business. Getting back to our conversation about business.
Yeah, kind of went off.
And once again, I'm going to talk about Avito, the Russian marketplace, aka Craigslist.
I think he might be a shareholder.
You can buy a business, a running business on Avito right now. And there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of business in Russia that you can buy. People start a business, the business is running, they want to quit, move, whatever, but they don't want to lose. They don't want to just stop the business because of the employees and whatnot. They sell businesses on Avito. You can buy a business, a running business, a bar, restaurant. You can buy a strip club if you want to. I've seen those on Avito. A mechanic shop, a car wash, a dentistry.
Car wash is a big thing now.
You can buy those on Avito.
So car wash is
you're buying it from is going to help you throughout the next few months and help you figure out how to run it. Because how I know that, I almost bought a bar in St. Petersburg, a running bar. A guy was selling a bar for like 600,000 rubles, like 6,000 pounds, $5,500 or whatever. And it was a running business with 2 employees, a little bar in the basement. And I almost bought it. And the guy told me he's going to help me with where to get the alcohol, where to get pay the light bill, the heating bill, and all that. So you can buy a running business in Russia. The only thing is you need somebody's name to register it to. So if you have your significant other from Russia, that's perfect. You can do that.
Cool. Good advice. Good advice. Still, you still got to really be hands-on when you're doing stuff. Like you have a car wash, there's going to be people in the car wash that are going to be thinking, how can I try and scam some money out of this? How can I steal the soap and sell it to someone? You have to be really hands-on in your business and really control everything. And if you feel that something bad's happening, it probably is. The mindset's a bit different, I think. The Soviet mindset was, what can we steal from the factory, right? That's what everyone used to talk about. We worked at the I can't remember even what film it was, where everyone's lined up and they're talking about what jobs they have today, and the policeman goes to the jobs and he says meat factory, and everyone steps forward because they all want to go and steal all the food. I think so. The mindset in Russia with the employees, it's different how they're going to think.
Higher. The new generation is completely different.
Well, maybe
is completely different.
Maybe I'm misrepresenting. You're all right. Maybe.
Like the generation of Russians that like my age, in their 30s, they have the different mentality. Generation, for example, of my wife, that she's in her 20s, that's a completely different generation. Those kids, they're raised completely different from what we were raised. Even we were raised over outside of Russia, it doesn't matter. It's a different generation. My kids in America, they're different. They're not like I used to be. Give me my bicycle and I'm good to go. They're all about being on the phone. They're all about being with their friends and doing some drawings and this and that. They're not about being outside. They're just very, inside people, I guess.
I'd say that the one thing I learned with opening the language school is, and this isn't just a Russian thing, this is a business thing. And I went bankrupt on that business, by the way. So just to let you know, I'm not speaking as an expert businessman. I'm speaking as someone who learned the lesson. And it's the people that work for you, they don't see the business the way you see it, right?
No, they don't.
And I think their goal is to get that wage and do their job, right? They don't really care about your success and your kind of what you want from the business. And I think it's one thing. It's interesting. It's difficult to keep people. You want to keep people motivated so that oh, that's nice. Oh, I think Chris is feeling lonely. So because we're not.
Can't feel lonely here, mate. There's 5 cats here. I've got 3 kittens. I've got 3 the same size as this one.
So someone's talking about the golden visa, and so the golden visa, this invest in Russia, and so you can invest in a building while it's being built. Again, there's so many. So I wouldn't invest in the golden visa, and the reason I wouldn't invest is because what's that? Cat food. Dreamies.
No, this is cocaine for cats.
Oh, yeah. I thought it looked like one of those date rape things, the Dreamies. I think it was like marketed as. Shouldn't really say that kind of stuff on the. Yeah. So
they're my fingers. They're attached.
No, they sold McDonald's. McDonald's sold it to the guy somewhere in Siberia, and he rebranded it because they left. If you don't leave, if you're from the West and you keep a business here, they're not going to take you. It's about one of the comments. Sorry, I just read it.
So yeah. So what was the other one that I was going to say? Great business. In this stage.
Oh my God.
The fact of the matter is the main thing. If you want to, just do it. Like the Nike commercial, just do it. Worst thing is gonna happen. You're gonna fail, and failing is a good thing because you learn from your failures. From whatever you don't achieve, you learn from it and you do it better the next time. Simple as that.
Definitely. I mean, I would say, be in Russia for a while before you open a business, unless it's a business that you can completely can control. Like you're an English teacher and you have classes and you teach the students, and then maybe you find another person to work with you as well, and then you've got 2 people working there, but you're the boss of the business. With businesses like this, with hairdressers, with English schools, with anything where people work directly with your paying client, in the back of their mind, they're thinking, and this happens especially with hairdressers, what they called in America, what you barbershops, yeah, and things like that, is the people that work there were always thinking, right, I've worked here for a while now, let me speak to the clients.
And do it on your own,
and then do it on my own, and then I'll open a business on my own and take all the clients with me.
But that's not just in Russia.
Yeah, it's not just Russia. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. It's with lots of businesses, and I think the things are falling out. Yeah. So they're the kind of things you have to be aware of when you're opening a business. But I've just had my experience in business in Russia, and that's why I've had lots of different things happen and stuff. But I definitely say come to Russia and just see what Russia's like first. I think if we're even having this conversation with people, then they probably haven't been in Russia enough. And once you've already been in Russia enough, you won't want to go onto the live stream and listen to what we're talking about business, because you'll probably just do it yourself.
Yeah, I agree. Also, there's a lot of internet business right now going on. I have a lot of friends, they're Russian, of course. I have a lot of friends that have also on Wildberries. It's like the eBay, Amazon of Russia. They have different kind of stores. What they do is they go on AliExpress. Everybody knows AliExpress. Buy a container of crap from China and just sell it on the Russian wild berries and the ozone, and they make good income on that. But you have
That'll make a good video, actually. That'll make a good video. I know quite a few people that do that as well, actually. Yeah, and make a good video. I shouldn't have said that, because probably in 2 days' time there'll be a video about this exact topic that I just said now. So,
yeah,
but yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah,
it's the future now. I mean, we do everything online. Russia is very advanced in the ways of food delivery, clothes, car parts. I order everything online here, just like in the States, and it gets to my either to my house or to the ozone store that's like 2 miles down the road, and I go pick it up. And there's a lot of crap you can order. A lot of stuff you can get from America. There's a lot of car parts that are in need right now, American car parts in Russia. So let's say you have a brother or a cousin in the States that doesn't mind ordering stuff on eBay and shipping it to you from the States through Kyrgyzstan or Kazakhstan to Russia. You can sell it here and double your money.
I know a guy that fixes cars, and he's looking for someone to bring him something. Bringing some from the UK, and it's like a massive car park. I'm like, I don't know how that's gonna. Yeah, I think.
You can do it through, you can do it through Dubai. You can open a separate company in Dubai and have one Indian working for you in Dubai. Just pick up from the post office and drop it off to a post office and ship it to Russia. And there's no sanctions on Dubai, so you can ship anything you need from there.
So somebody, so I've got those 2 questions. Where was it? Okay, have I ever been scammed in Russia? Any warnings? Bad things happen to all of us. We all have, we've all had situations where things have happened. You've just, and I wouldn't say it's a Russian thing. It's a thing that probably happens in business all over the world.
Yeah.
You've got to be in control of what you're doing. That's the only way you can control your business. You have to know. That's why if you're going to open a business where you're going to, I don't know, you just want to invest money and someone else is going to do the business, even if it's your best mate, the chance is that after a while, that mate will probably think, oh, I could probably get away with a bit here. Just that's life. So you need to be in control, completely in control of what's happening. Otherwise, yeah, you know, best friends become strangers. That's like life, and best friends, you know, bad things happen, you know. So.
It's common sense, you know, if somebody's going to tell you, hey, give me $2,000. I'm gonna double it for you within a month. Kind of common sense. You don't know the dude. Why are you gonna give him the money? You know, money don't grow.
Even if say you're going to do something like, I don't know, like say you're back home when you're in your country, you decide to open a chocolate selling shop. I don't know, just selling random chocolates. Okay, let's for example. You do that in Russia, and you're not the one doing the ordering. You're not the one doing all the things. You're not controlling everything every day and counting how many chocolates have gone and making sure that, okay, 10 have gone and there's 15 left, and make sure that you're controlling everything. You're going to get, then it's going to happen, right? Because you're doing something that you're not controlling in another country. So, yeah, you know, that's why you just have to be in complete control, I think. And that's why I don't want to do business with anyone.
If it sounds too good to be true,
definitely
walk away from it. That's the number one rule. If it sounds too good to be true, just walk away, because easy money, there's no such a thing as easy money.
So what do you think? Should we wrap things up, or is there anything else anyone wants to say?
Chris any more questions?
Mate, the cats are driving me insane. So
I've got some news, because for the whole summer I've had 2 people from Yemen staying with me, because their house was hit by a rocket and not a firework, and it was an American firework, we'll call it, and they're from Yemen, so they stayed with me for the summer, and they're going back to Yemen tomorrow morning, so we're traveling back. So yeah, so I'll have the house free, so I'll have a massive party on my own tomorrow to celebrate. So yeah, so anyone wants to say?
I just want to say, thanks to everybody. I've done very little tonight other than sort of a bit of moderating in the chat, which hasn't been much, trying to catch the odd question and trying to listen to you guys and herd kittens at the same time. So my head's fried, but I just want to say thank you to everybody that's tuned in. Please like, share and subscribe all of our channels. Check out our Telegram groups as well. They're the same as our channels. Please sign up to Ven's channel, subscribe to that. Really interesting guy and very, very, very knowledgeable. So check him out, Redneck Ven, RDNKVEN, or Ven Kor on YouTube if you just want to search for it like that. And of course, Sam, the host, as always, the host.
Obviously, also, you might want to send me like loads of money. If you want to send me like millions of pounds,
checks in the post, Sam.
Just do a test. Just as a test, see, can I send money to this YouTuber? Test like what?
Sure, you're breaking up, mate. What did you say? You're breaking up.
Yeah. So have you been to the doctors to sort out the problem you had?
Yeah, it was a wart called Sam, and I had it removed.
Okay.
You guys are funny.
I think you're the same. I think we just.
I'd like to thank you, Sam, very much for having me. Can you hear me?
It's been good to. Yeah, it's been good to be on the live stream. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I'd like to say big thanks to you. Thank you for having me on here. It was a very interesting chat. We should do it again. Maybe write down
here. Then it would have been the most boring chat in the world. So really, you kind of made the chat. Otherwise, me and Chris would have been like, "So what we're going to talk about?"
Thanks.
So in a way, we used you to get content to our subscribers, basically. So
see, now the cat's out of the bag, and don't mention cats. Oh God!
Really, thanks a lot, Ben. Thanks a lot for being here and for contributing.
We should do it again and get one of the lawyers from Moscow to join us to answer a lot of the other questions that people ask. I think that would be a good chat. There's a lawyer that a lot of my buddies are a lot of my expat buddies are using him in Moscow, and I can maybe get in contact with him, see if he wants to join the chat, and he can answer a lot of the questions about immigration.
Cool, that'll be good.
That sounds good.
That'll be good. Yeah, sounds good. Definitely.
Yeah. There's loads of questions we've missed. And as always, when it's a very, very busy chat, it's difficult to keep up with all the questions and keep the conversation flowing. But tonight, I think it's been important to let you two guys talk and just bounce off of each other and go through the business propositions and the construction and stuff that you have. Ven has got an interesting retirement plan as well, and that's something that needs to be spoken about. So please join his channel. Please join Sam's channel. Please join my channel. And you're going to see us all again soon, I'm sure, by the sound of it.
We'll talk again, that's for sure. Thank you, guys.
Okay, cool. See you.
Cheers, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.